A new wave has formed for Season 2, an epic tour that ends with a new legacy. The OGs are back, ready to defend their legacy, while fresh meat joins the competition, eager to make their mark. Who is willing to battle door-to-door and conquer 2024? Buckle up, because the season of a lifetime is among us.
Here we go. Who's going to get the better restart?
Look at all this action as we come on lap 100.
Second. Gonna go around. This could be the big one.
Hey, four wide in Texas. Todd falls back. Bacon, there's another bump. There's another hit. Cox into Miranda. Tate's gonna steal one here in Nashville. Are you kidding me?
A new wave has formed for Season 2, an epic tour that ends with a new legacy. The OGs are back, ready to defend their legacy, while fresh meat joins the competition, eager to make their mark. Who is willing to battle door-to-door and conquer 2024? Buckle up, because the season of a lifetime is among us.
Here we go. Who's going to get the better restart?
As we come on lap 100.
Second. Gonna go around. This could be the big one.
Hey, four wide in Texas. Todd falls back.
The sponsor Paddock 260 is here. Many No Limit Racing and the Simrat Market Series are back from a week off. Zach Millett is pacing the field early this season, and time is already slipping and closing in on the cutoff for this season's playoffs. Who rolls the dice and hits the jackpot that is the checkered flag? You gotta tune in tonight to find out. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Las Vegas, Nevada. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Scott Shive alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the No Limit Racing Simrat Market Series. Tonight's coverage from Las Vegas is brought to you by Simrat Market, by No Limit Racing, by all series partners, and tonight's presenting partner, Sponsor Paddock. Welcome, Scott, to the
260.
Yeah, the Sponsor Paddock 260. Welcome in this evening. It is going to be a wild ride here at Las Vegas. This is one of the coolest racetracks to go racing at, and high banks, high speeds, high risk certainly on the line for these drivers this evening, and a lot of points up for grabs still early in this season that are so necessary if you want to make a run to the playoffs.
Only race number 4 today, like you said, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, high banks. This is a great track, 1.5 mile oval, 50 mile per hour speed limit. It opened in 1996. Its capacity is 80,000. So this speedway opened in 1996, but was repaved and has been held since the 70s, back when the bull ring and the drag strip. So as though the oval's a bit newer, but this place has been around for a long time, Andrew.
Yeah, there's almost always been racing in Las Vegas, it feels like, in some regard, and it just seems to fit as well. NASCAR here in Las Vegas just makes sense, and in this case, the Simrat Market Series in Las Vegas is a pivotal race. Let's take a look at the standings coming into this evening. I mentioned Zach Millett's pacing the field at 520 points so far. That's a gap of 100 back to Nathan Paris, 110 back to Holden McGill, who's not here tonight. Jeremy Brown sits in 4th alongside Ryan Dingler. They are tied for the 4th spot. Dalton Tucker sits 6th. Daniel Wiles, Matthew Taylor, Sean Boundy, Ian Brassfield make up the top 10, along with Michael Moultrie and Spencer Ray in the top 12 and currently in the playoffs. But everything's going to change. That's the one thing I've learned so far in the standings in this series. Everything's going to change. We have so many drivers on a weekly basis, and some drivers missing races, some drivers making their first race. Everything on this screen is going to change. That's the one thing I know about this series at this point. I got to do a lot of work on the standings graphic because everybody's in a different position the next week. There's no carryover aside from 1 or 2 spots usually. And in this case, one of the few spots that carried over from last week to this week was Zach Millett atop the point standings. That's the one consistency so far in the season, is Zach Millett being super consistent at the top, leading the championship.
Zach Millett wants to keep it at the top, like you said. He finished second last race we had at COTA, and obviously he won Bristol the week before that, and right now still topping the charts here in practice. So Zach Millett would like to keep it up front all day long, like we talked about Nathan Paris, but then back there we got Quentin Lee, Michael Matta. He's down in he's down 19th, and he's running second right now in the practice. So a lot of these guys back in that 13th through 24th position have got to find the points to make it past Spencer Ray.
Spencer Ray, I believe, not here this evening either. He had something come up, so the 61 car is not in this race, and that's going to throw a wrench into things and open things up for those drivers sitting from 13th on back, trying to make it into the top 12. Let's take a look at this season's schedule. Race 4 now at Las Vegas. We're breaking into that string of races that leads into the playoffs, and the playoffs begin on February 5th. Now, I know that feels like a long ways away still, but let's be real. We're in November. That means the end of the year is around the corner. That means the beginning of the year is around the corner, and quickly we'll burn through January, those 3 races in January, and get into February and begin these playoffs at St. Louis. So while it still feels like a long ways away at race 13, believe me, it's going to happen very quickly, and we'll be there in a hurry. Now, I do want to mention, I don't know if you can tell my voice, I'm a little bit under the weather, so Scott might be doing a little bit of the heavy lifting this evening, but yeah, it's going to be a broadcast for sure, I'll tell you that much. It's going to be an experience with my voice kind of here and there, a little bit nasally, so apologies, but I'm excited for what is going to be the 4th race of the season, the Sponsor Paddock 260. This is going to be a fun one, and you know, the buzz in the garage is that this setup, built by Conti, is a little bit different. It's built to be front downforce heavy and really require these guys to drive the race car.
Yeah, Brandon Fronapple was texting us about it earlier today, just giving us a rundown of what Conti has brought out here today for this race. Really excited about it because he talked about, it's easy, so easy to wear down the right front of this racetrack. And with this next-gen car, you really can almost take it full throttle. And they really wanted something different for this race. They didn't want guys to just throw it full throttle all night long. So they made it more downforce heavy, as you'll see Zach Millett out on track for qualifying. He's got 4 minutes to do it. But they really wanted to make it to where tire wear was going to be a big factor here in today's race. So big storyline all day long would be how can you manage them?
And so far in his run, you saw him swerving a little bit down the backstretch, trying to build some heat in the tires for this qualifying effort. With a front downforce heavy car, it's going to turn on the nose like on a dime. But on cold tires, man, you're going to be at the edge of grip. So you really want to break these tires in if you can and find that grip for your qualifying. Right, you can see him getting a little bit free there in the corner and then pushing off the corner. It's going to be an interesting balance to watch these guys contend with this evening as Quentin Lee goes fastest to start.
Quentin Lee fastest already here on the charts. Like you said, looking here at Zach Millett coming in for his first lap. Also looking at here, oh, who's that, the 34? Golly, that's 39, Jason Tucker there. He's running in that beautiful purple, chrome, and black Camry. His best is a 30.3, but trying to do a little bit better. We saw some 29.9s in practice, and Tucker will want just a little bit better than that.
He was fastest, now is chasing fastest, so that's going to be at 30.305. That's not going to be good enough for pole. Quentin Lee will stay faster. Michael Matta now jumping up the board into the second spot, right where he sat in practice. The Cisco Moon Ford Mustang Dark Horse, just 46 1,000ths of a second off of pole, and it looks like he has exhausted his qualifying laps. We should have followed that 31 car, though, because, wow, following in from practice, he is fastest in qualifying now, provisionally on pole. Oh, I say that, and here comes Michael Moultrie.
Moultrie now up on the boards, just half a tenth faster there than Zach Millett. And that was a great lap from him, was a 30.15. So great lap by the 29 there. Looking at Adam Beneful here, hasn't put down a lap yet here in the 83 car. Still on his out lap. Looks like he's warming it up out there. Some guys running the midline, some guys running the bottom line. What would you run here, Andrew?
It'd be up on the top side for lap one for sure. Build as much speed, as much momentum as possible, keep it up on the boards, and try to get back out of turn four with as much speed as possible. That said, you see Benefield go down to the bottom there in turns 1 and 2. Will he go high in 3 and 4? We'll have to wait and see as he gets down to the back end of the speedway. And yes, he will go high in 3 and 4. He's going to get that run off the corner.
Man, do you see those bumps entering turn 3 right at the end of the straightaway? I mean, he was absolutely bouncing that car up and down. Coming to his first lap here. It's going to be a good one. It's a 30.6 right now. It's going to put him in the mid-pack. He's going to want to do a little bit better than that, is the 83. He'll stay here towards the middle in his second lap, and we'll have to see where he comes out here, looking along with Masati in the 49 car. Beautiful paint scheme in that blue and I would say neon yellow. I think that's the color.
Yeah, thereabouts. Dalton Tucker just went 31st, just filtering through some of the field. Brian Wirtz goes 34th, now actually jumps up to 23rd. Austin McColgan goes 21st. Let's circle back to Benefield as he goes 9th position in qualifying, right behind Jeremy Brown, who now goes 8th in the 07 car. So some speed there for the 07. Let's circle back to Anthony Masati. And Masati was originally not in the field. He was cycled in by a couple of drivers who dropped out of the field by points. And Masati's first lap, 37th quick. He's going for lap 2.
Looks like a lot of these guys are using that first lap kind of as a warm-up.
Yep.
They're all running them around the 39.4s to 39.6s there. As Masati ran a 39.5 or 30.5, excuse me, trying to run a little bit faster here, railing the bottom there, painting that white line, moves all the way up to the top off the corner of 4, cuts down to the bottom of the apron, trying to make it the shortest distance. He'll put down a 30.2. That'll put him 13th on the boards right now.
13th quick for driver 49. And that leaves just Kevin West and Richard Lanning as the two drivers that did not set qualifying times in this session. Everybody else taking a time, 40 cars in all. taking a qualifying lap. And Kevin West took an attempt, but it looks like exhausted his laps without a lap counting. So not sure what went wrong for the 0-1 car, but something happened. And we will take a look then at your starting grid this evening, beginning with pole winner. Who is it? Wait for it. Michael Moultrie. I know, so climactic, but Michael Moultrie on pole in the 29 car. That's an interesting pole winner. He was quick at Coda 2 weeks ago, rather. It has been fun to watch so far this season. He'll roll off from the first spot. Dalton Tucker from that in the 21 car. See, I told you, I'm under the weather. Oh, it's going to be a long night. From the second spot, Dalton Tucker in that 21 car. Starting third, you'll find Nathan Paris. Zach Millett, points leader, will start from fourth. And actually, Nathan Paris is second in points. He's starting third. Interesting note there. Starting fifth, that's Quentin Lee. Sixth is Matt Cherry. To complete your top 10, it'll be Vincent Short, Matthew Taylor, Jeremy Brown, and Adam Benefiel in the 83 car.
Well, then back there will be that 88 of Michael Matta, out of the points right now, trying to have a good run tonight. Then in 12th, the 64 of Russell Black. In 13th, 14th, and 15th is Anthony Masadi, Matthew Montgomery, and Joseph Tucker. Then in 16th, we'll have the 56 of Austin Wheeler. First race here tonight for him for this series. Then the 17th position is Brian Rose. 18th, the 37 of Andon Mendenhall, looking to bounce back from last week at Coda. In 19th and 20th, we'll have the Dingler, Ryan Dingler, and the 96 of Christian Light.
Starting 21st, it's 41 car. It's going to be Matt Lovett on the inside of row number 11, alongside Ian Brasfield, who was oh so impressive at Coda 2 weeks ago. Starting 23rd position, it's going to be none other than Alfie Sharon Jr. in the 99 car, alongside the 51 of Austin McColgan. Starting 25th, it'll be Sean Bowney in the 34 car alongside Brian Wirtz. And to complete your top 30, it'll be the 27 in position 27. That'll be Jared Washon alongside Cullen Johnston in the 13. And in front of Colin Terrell in the 20, he will start 29th. Edward Jurgen from 30th.
Then in 31st, we'll have that 3 of Daniel Wiles alongside the 50 of Brandon Ruisi. Then the 08 of Gary Bowman brings it up in 33rd. Back beside him is Sean Lodison. Then in 35th, that 74 of Christopher Cash. The 18 of Norman Rangel comes up 36. And then in 37th and 38th, we'll have Dylan Cardenas and Cody Ellis. Rounding out your top 40 will be in 39th, the 6 of Matthew Martinek. And then in the 40th position, the 48 of Christopher Taylor.
Kevin West, Richard Lanning, the remainder of the field. Race Control makes it 43, but of course Race Control isn't racing this evening, so 42 cars. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun one. Let's check out the Whiplash SimCam's race details. It's a 174-lap race with 4 change sets, 1 already on the car. 65% fuel load, that'll be good for about 50 laps. Fixed setup, no fast fix, up to 3 green white checkers available, and weather conditions in the sky, clear skies, 80.4 degrees in the air, 106 on the track. We'll work on a turn 4 and down to the Geico restart zone to get this race underway. Waiting on our field. Out of the final corner, there goes the iRacing.com safety car to the relative safety of pit lane and into that Geico restart zone. Here we go. Green flag in the sponsor paddock 260. Down the back stretch for the first time, then Nellis straightaway. First battle is going to be about the 4th spot. Quentin Lee looks to the inside of Dalton Tucker.
Man, Moultrie got a great start there from the pole position. Zach Millett, however, ran it on the outside of 1 and 2 and got great speed off the corner. Back in the field, it's a little more congested. 3 wide, 2 rows back.
The whole field rolls on by. Watching the cars up front, though, the first battle now is going to be around Matthew Taylor and Vincent Short. Side by side, they roll out of turn number 2. That's going to be the 44 of Taylor on the outside, the 95 of Short on the inside. Jeremy Brown looks on, then Russell Black there, all inside the top 10.
Man, And Jeremy Brown has good speed, good momentum, a little bit of contact between the 95 of Vincent Short and Matthew Taylor there. Man, the 07 is on the bumper of Taylor, just trying to get past him. He's got some speed. You got to wonder if Taylor is already starting to save some tires.
I think you have to start saving tire from the drop of the green flag. You've got to all night long try to run this stint out as long as you can, have better tires later in this race. This thing could go green, you never know. Races at Las Vegas sometimes do that. They get strung out into a driver-style race. We could have that this evening.
Well, we've seen with this series, I mean, even at Daytona, until the very end, there was very minimal cautions. So at a place like Las Vegas, I imagine it will run green most of the day long. Again, I'm going to knock on wood here because I could be jinxing that. Whoa, the two. He's got a little bit of internet issues. I think he's dropping off. Yeah, there it goes. Quentin Lee dropping off the boards. Looked like he had a little bit of an internet issue there.
A couple of cars having problems here on lap number 4 of 174. A little bit longer than a lot of races you'll see. Oftentimes they'll go 133 for 200 miles or maybe 167 for 250 miles. This race just that little bit longer, stretching out to 260 miles this evening as you watch 3 wide.
And 3 wide right there. They are so close. And in Mendenhall trying to ring the top. And that's 64 Russell Black right in front of him. Matthew Taylor falling a little bit behind on the bottom.
On board with Mendenhall, he's going to roll the outside of Russell Black, and he is moving forward in a hurry. This is the problem, though. You got some drivers
in the wall.
Yeah, in the fence there. You got some drivers on one strategy of getting all the track position they can early. Some drivers saving their tires. You're always going to have this clash in races like this where tires matter that much more.
It really is. Saw Mendenhall snag the wall there out of turn 4, trying to get all he can on the exit. Right behind him, Ian Brasfield trying to make position, but Adam Benefield's in the way on the bottom.
Didn't Brasfield start like 20th?
Yes.
He's up to 11th. Moving forward in that 89 car. This is awesome.
You talked about it. Some people are going to make those moves early. Brasfield seems to be one of them, trying to get through this field, because you saw that mid-pack at the opening of this race. I mean, they were 3 wide. I bet you we didn't even see it. I bet you we had 4 wide at one point for a second, but it can get absolutely dicey in the back. And I know Brasfield doesn't want to be a part of that as he's fighting to try to stay up top in these playoffs.
Meanwhile, out front, it's all Michael Moultrie on lap number 7 of 174. It's Moultrie, Paris, and Mill at the top 3. Then Dalton Tucker sat back in the 4th spot, and that's where the whole mess begins. Jeremy Brown looks to the outside. Here comes the 07.
Brown has been on the move. We saw him absolutely hounding Matthew Taylor earlier. Moved around Matt Sherry. Now on the outside of Tucker. Try to carry this momentum off of turn 2. He'll be able to. That's Jeremy Brown up to the 4th position, up 5 from the start.
Brown moving forward in a hurry. Here comes Matt Cherry on the inside of Matthew Taylor. Some of these camera shots from across the racetrack just show you so much about the stories of these battles and show you everything there is to see about each one of these fights on the racetrack, and that was a good one there out of turn 4 all the way to turn 1. Watching these guys pick lanes into the first corner. Here comes Mendenhall on the outside.
Mendenhall got a little bit of a run on Taylor here. Dalton Tucker's going to move up, and that's going to slow Mendenhall's momentum. He's going to stay to the top, try to roll it. Caution is out, Andrew.
And it's going to be Cody Ellis in the back. This 4-car turned around from Panto Racing Club. We've talked a lot about them this season. This is an early issue for one of their drivers.
Yeah, I'm looking back. Early issue here for Cody Ellis. Still looking at what happened to Quentin Lee. He's looking at it. He's way far back in the field now, but we'll get to that later. Looking at what caused our caution here was Cody Ellis in the 4-car. You'll see him right here in the middle of the pack. That's a 12 on his outside.
Along with the 50 of Ruisi, Ellis moved up, and both cars were out there. He gets hit by Lodison and goes for a slide into turn 3, and that's that.
Yeah, Lodison and Ruisi were up there, and Ellis had no idea that they were 3 wide.
Another look at it here. Watch out of turn number 2. You got the 12 of Cardenas on the outside, the 50 of Ruisi, and they just make a little bit of contact in the middle. That might not have been so much on the 4 of Ellis as it was on the 50 of Ruisi.
I was going to say, that looked like a little bit of a tough hit there.
Let's try to slow this down this time. 3 Chevrolets involved here off of the second corner. Let's slow it down. The 4 comes up a little bit. This is slowed way down. The 4 comes up a little bit. The 50 is giving room to the 12. That's just racing in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, looked like Ellis just had no idea that they were 3 wide, just started to turn right to move up the track, and, well, there were 2 other cars there. Pit stops.
Yes, I was going to say an early caution flag gives us an opportunity to see some pit stops here. Vincent Short, one of the first in and out of the pit lane, looks like he goes for 2, and he's going to bring a whole bunch of others with him. Joseph Tucker, Cullen Johnston, Jared Wishon, all taking service, and it looks like 2 tires or fuel only for the most part. I'm going to go with fuel.
I can't imagine that you would maybe do anything but more than 2 tires, because like we said, only have 4 change sets for this 174 lap race. We talked about it earlier with fuel length. We were talking to Brandon Fronapple earlier, and well, with the tire wear here, the fuel length really isn't going to matter. You're going to need tires before you're going to need fuel. So personally, I don't think I could pit here for any sort of tires.
I'm not really sure why anybody pitted, to be honest with you. I think
that's what I'm saying.
I think you stay on the racetrack and keep this set on there and run it out for a little bit. I'm not sure I understand the call to pit lane at all.
I don't either, but
unless you have damage.
About it. I know who's happy about it. That a lot of those drivers did that. That would be Quentin Lee. Quentin Lee started up in the 5th position, and we saw. I don't know if you were able to see out of our program here, but Quentin Lee, he was blinking on our screen, and that happens a lot of times in the iRacing world when a driver has not the best internet connection. He dropped down onto the bottom of the apron as not to wreck other drivers and went all the way back to the field. He's now in 28 after the pit stops.
There you see Quentin Lee. We were taking a look briefly at Brian Wirtz. He is one of the few drivers that did come in for 4 tires. Montgomery, it looks like, did as well. Ruisi did. Ruisi, it makes sense. He got damage in that crash, so that makes sense. But there's Quentin Lee in the 2 car.
Yeah, interesting call from Wirtz, because he actually had an EOL from last week's race at COTA. I'm not sure why he got it last week at COTA, but he was starting in the back because of whatever he did.
I wonder if that's from the starting crash.
Oh.
I actually went back and watched it earlier today while doing some of my broadcast work, and if you recall correctly, he was kind of the catalyst behind that crash on lap 1 at a turn 1.
I do remember that.
He got loose and started that crash, so I wonder if it's from that, if it's stemming from that accident. But regardless, we'll double these guys up and go at it one more time here. We have no stages, which I love. It's just a straight-up race for 174. I do love stage racing, I'll say, but I also love straight-up racing like this. This is a nice change of pace in a lot of leagues where you get stage racing these days. This is a really nice difference to that. It's a little bit old school, just like the season format. And let's go back to that season format briefly and talk about the fact how one side of the standings basically is in the playoffs, one side is out, and it begins at St. Louis and runs through California. There's no eliminations. It's just a straight-up playoff for 6 races. Get the most points you can, you win the championship.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, after this race, we'll be 1/4 of the way through our regular season. I absolutely love it. I mean, by Richmond, you've got to be in that top 12. And then by St. Louis, that's it. These 12 are competing for the championship, and there's no cutoff, no nothing. It's who can accrue most points within that section of races in those last 6 races. And talk about those races: St. Louis, Miami, Talladega, Sonoma, California, all very diverse.
Here we go, back to the Geico restart zone, this time out of turn number 4. Michael Moultrie going to lead us back to the green flag, and there it is. Green flag back in the air at Las Vegas. This time, Zach Millett gets the jump. Here comes Jeremy Brown on the inside. Brown up to 3rd, looking for 2nd. Here he comes on the inside of the 31 car.
Man, moving up is that 07 of Brown. He had the run before the caution earlier, and he's trying to continue that haul forward. Meanwhile, Nathan Paris falling a little bit back, but man, look at that 07. Trying to get on the inside of Millett here for 2nd position.
Paris falls back to 5th. Mendenhall up to 4th. Brown into 3rd. Millett into 2nd. Moultrie continues to lead now on lap 15 of 174. Nearly 10% of the way into this race, clicking them off one by one.
man, clicking them off. Dalton Tucker back here on the inside of Taylor. Then it's Adam Benefiel and Matt Cherry. Look at this. I love it. Side by side everywhere through this field.
Brasfield, Benefiel, they run side by side. Benefiel on the inside of Brasfield.
Looks like this top line is really prevailing here early, Andrew. I mean, you get such good momentum on the exit of the corner that you can just keep rolling. You stay in the gas longer. And again, like we said, before the edge of this track, before the setup, you could almost run it flat out. And so you're able to run it a little bit harder there on that outside, like some of these cars are doing, trying to move through this field.
Yeah, the idea was to promote more off-throttle time. I think they've done that. Listening to Benefiel through the corner, down in fourth gear, they are not pinned wide open. They are absolutely modulating the throttle in the corner, and Benefiel stays in fourth gear all the way around the racetrack, it looks like.
Well, hey, look to the outside of the Benefiel right now. It's Russell Black, and then the 34. There's Sean Bounty. They're 3 wide down the back straightaway.
That's scary. That is scary, scary.
No one can make a wrong move in scenarios like that. Still looking along the hood of Benefiel, following in that path of the 64, Russell Black. Paint the line here, looking up at Andon Mendenhall under attack. And actually, Andon Mendenhall went around the 07 car, it looks like.
That he did. Jeremy Brown falling off the block a little bit, sitting back down the 4th spot, got up there, was challenging for 2nd, now sits in 4th and is wondering where these leaders are going. The answer is away from that 07 car. They are pulling away.
I was going to say Moultrie there running a 30.4 as well as Millett. Mendenhall running a
caution.
Caution out yet again. Well, I was wrong. I was talking about cautions.
Christopher Tate turned around on the 48 car. The T-Top Manufacturing Chevrolet Camaro. In trouble on the front stretch, and he was not alone.
No, it wasn't alone. Look here on the inside of him, that's the 92 of Edward Jurgen. Then on the outside of him, that's the 98 of Brian Rose. Yeah, looks like Tate slides up a little bit, comes back down, gets into Jurgen. And man, Brian Rose, nowhere to go on that one.
Yeah, Rose was an innocent bystander on the outside. Jurgen just kind of squeezed up the racetrack a little bit. Let's see if we can watch that from the blimp.
It's a really tough position because, man, Tate just comes up into Brian Rose, then bounces off of Jurgen, and then he just loses control.
Let's slow this one down again. Tate goes through the middle and gets tight, slides up into Brian Rose. That puts Rose on the fence, and Tate came down actually into Jurgen. Jurgen did nothing wrong. That's all just a small mistake on Tate. Bounced off of one car into the other, and unfortunately causes this accident here on lap 19 or so.
Yeah, I got to think Christopher Tate is honestly really thankful that Brian Rose was there on his outside, because honestly, his car acted as a cushion for Christopher Tate, because if he wasn't there, I mean, that might have been day done on the outside wall right there.
On board with Tate. And that is the outside wall in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, it's the smallest of margins, Andrew, that these drivers have to perform under. And you look at on that driver camera right there, I mean, it almost looked like nothing, but in an instant, he was in the wall.
He's now in the pit lane alongside the 12 car of David Cardenas. We saw a lot out of Cardenas at Coda a couple of weeks ago. And it looks like Tate is going to get all the repairs he can. Also see the 50 in pit lane. That's Brian Ruisi. And Cardenas, by the way, is 10 laps down. Never made it back out onto the racetrack. So Dylan will sit there, it looks like, in the pit lane. Sean Lodison's 4 laps down. Brian Rose is now a lap down. Cody Ellis is a lap down. And Christopher Tate is in danger of going that lap down, but will make it back on the racetrack. There he goes. So really, yeah, Brian Rose is bearing the brunt of that crash.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he got the worst damage for sure because, again, Rose's car acted almost like a cushion for Tate there. But, I mean, Rose was on that wall, got a good impact there from that, what I'm calling the cushion. So he probably had a good bit of front toe damage there on that left front.
Cody Ellis also with damage from that initial accident.
He's happy about that second caution, gave him the lucky dog.
Yeah, gets him back. Well, he's 1 lap down now. So he must have been 2 laps down.
I imagine so. Interesting to see that no one was 1 lap down then.
Brian Marisi hanging on to the lead lap. Those are some drivers that are in trouble but staying in the race at this point in time. Pace car lights are still on. Well, we're giving away a little bit of free cash. And by cash, I mean, let's see. Let's double check here. I want to make sure I have this straight. It's been a long day. IMB Racewear voucher. That's what I thought it was. So it's an IMB Racewear voucher for $25. And we've got another trivia question. One of Scott's wonderful questions that he's cooked up for you guys today. For somebody out in the chat to get an IMB Racewear voucher, all you have to do is answer his question correctly and be the first one to do so. So, Scott, ask away.
All right, y'all got the last ones at Bristol really easily, so I'm trying to go a little bit harder this week. What World Championship event was scheduled to run for 3 years at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, but was only ever held once because bad weather canceled the other 2? Later on, if this is too hard, if anyone's unable to guess it, I'll give some more hints along the way. But do with that what you will right now, viewers.
So for the 36 of you guys watching on YouTube, or even, you know what, I'll pull up Twitch. We could have an answer on Twitch. Who knows? So I'll pull up Twitch. It'll be YouTube or Twitch that I'm watching here for.